Picture this, an endless river of trucks crossing the country, warehouses stacked to the ceiling, thousands of packages landing on doorsteps every single day. Logistics feels like the ultimate business, because literally everything you own had to get to you somehow. But here's the twist nobody tells you. Hauling more freight doesn't automatically mean printing more money. Sometimes it means the opposite. You're not selling trucks. You're selling a promise. A logistics company doesn't really sell trucks or square footage of warehouse space. It sells certainty, the guarantee that a product shows up at the right place, at the right time in one piece. The truck is just the delivery mechanism. Reliability is the actual product. That distinction forces your first big decision. What kind of certainty are you selling? Running packages across one city is a totally different animal from hauling freight cross-country or shipping containers across oceans. The longer and messier the journey, the more infrastructure it swallows. Starting small and getting crushed by the math. Let's say you start simple. One truck, one customer, one route. The entry price looks deceptively low. Then reality hits: insurance, permits, tech, fuel reserves, and enough cash to survive the weeks before anyone actually pays you. And once that truck starts rolling, the meter never stops. Fuel, wages, maintenance, financing, it all burns money by the mile, whether or not that mile is profitable. So revenue can climb while profit quietly shrinks because costs climbed faster. If every mile costs money, profit only exists in the gap between what you charge and what it costs you to deliver. In logistics, that gap is often razor thin. A small bump in fuel prices or driver wages can wipe it out entirely. The market doesn't care about your business plan. Here's the uncomfortable part. You don't set your own prices. When freight outpaces available trucks, rates climb. When too many carriers chase too little cargo, rates crater. The market can shrink your margin before your truck even leaves the lot. That's why serious logistics companies chase long-term contracts, locked-in shipments at predictable prices. Stability, yes, but also a trap. Once you promise the capacity, you have to deliver it, rain or shine, break down or not. Scale, your biggest advantage and your biggest liability. One truck breaking down is a headache. 100 trucks means 100 ways for something to go sideways on any given day. But scale also buys you leverage, cheaper fuel contracts, shared tech costs, a network running at higher efficiency. Then there's one of logistics' strangest money pits, the empty truck. A truck driving back empty still burns fuel, still pays a driver, still racks up mileage with zero revenue attached. Multiply that across a fleet, and suddenly you're solving a massive daily puzzle. Which truck takes which load? Which route wastes the least gas? How do you avoid sending a rig hundreds of miles for nothing? This is exactly why route optimization software became a billion-dollar industry inside logistics. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Even a perfect route falls apart the moment a truck sits idle at a loading dock. Every wasted hour costs the driver's wage, ties up the vehicle, and pushes the next delivery closer to late. In this business, time isn't just money, it's capacity. And unlike inventory, lost time can never be restocked. Why companies add warehouses and a new set of headaches? Once you can store, pick, pack, and deliver a customer's inventory, you stop making money on a single trip and start making money across the whole chain. But now you own a warehouse, and warehouses have their own version of the empty truck, unused space. Rent, power, and labor drain a warehouse whether products are flying off the shelves or gathering dust. Every square foot needs to earn its keep. At scale, a single wrong item isn't just one mistake, it's a refund, a return shipment, extra labor, a replacement delivery, and quite possibly a customer who never orders again. That invisible last cost is often the most expensive one. And the cargo itself carries risk too. Goods can be worth far more than the truck hauling them. Damage, theft, or spoilage can wipe out a shipment's entire value, which is exactly why insurance isn't a line item afterthought. It's a structural pillar holding the whole business up. Truck payments, insurance, software subscriptions, warehouse rent, payroll, these arrive monthly no matter what. That fixed cost pressure pushes companies to keep every asset working, because a parked truck stops earning, but its loan payment absolutely does not. And growth doesn't relieve that pressure, it multiplies it. Landing a huge new client can mean buying trucks, trailers, and warehouse gear before a dollar of that new revenue ever lands in the bank. In logistics, you often have to spend first and hope the payoff arrives on schedule. Even after the delivery is complete, payment might take weeks to land, while fuel suppliers, mechanics, and drivers all want paid now. A company can look profitable on paper and still collapse from a cash flow gap. A massive contract can transform a small logistics company overnight. But if that one customer walks away, the trucks, warehouse space, and staff built around them don't just vanish along with the lost revenue. One great customer can fuel growth. Over-reliance on that customer can sink the whole operation. Escaping the commodity trap. Basic point-to-point B freight is brutally competitive. If 5 companies can move the same load, customers shop purely on price, and margins get squeezed to nothing. The strongest logistics companies escape this trap by becoming harder to replace. Specialized equipment, cold chain transport, complex fulfillment, tech integration, rock-solid reliability. The harder you are to copy, the less you're forced to compete on price alone. Why one storm can break the whole network. The more connected a logistics network becomes, the further a single disruption can travel. A storm, a port delay, a labor shortage in one city can ripple into missed deliveries hundreds of miles away. Real resilience isn't about preventing every failure. It's about stopping one failure from cascading into everyone else's problem. But resilience isn't free. Backup trucks, spare warehouse capacity, redundant systems, all of it sits idle during calm periods, quietly costing money just in case. The real strategic question, how much inefficiency are you willing to pay for as insurance against disaster? People still run the machine. No amount of automation replaces the fact that trucks need drivers, warehouses need workers, and dispatch needs skilled humans making calls in real time. When labor gets scarce, expensive equipment sits idle, turning a hiring problem into a financial one overnight. Technology does help, though. Sharper routing cuts wasted miles, smarter warehouse systems cut errors, better data sharpens forecasting. It doesn't replace the physical work, but it multiplies what every truck and worker can accomplish. Own the trucks or coordinate someone else's. This is one of the biggest strategic forks in the entire industry. Asset-heavy players buy the fleets and warehouses for maximum control. Asset-light players lease capacity from partners and scale faster with less capital tied up. Neither approach wins by default. They just carry risk differently. This gap between shippers needing capacity and carriers who have it is exactly why freight brokers exist. No trucks owned, just connections made, capacity found, shipments coordinated, a margin earned for solving the matching problem. At a big enough scale, more customers bring more freight. More freight attracts more capacity, and a denser network gets more efficient with every new route added. At true global scale, a single product might cross truck, ship, rail, warehouse, and delivery van before it ever reaches a customer's door, and every single handoff is a place where time, money, or information can vanish. Here's the twist that surprises most people. The biggest logistics company by revenue isn't always the most profitable one. A company can move an ocean of freight and keep almost nothing per shipment. What actually matters is what's left after paying for trucks, labor, facilities, partners, and overhead. And because margins run so thin, disaster rarely arrives as one dramatic event. It's usually death by 1,000 cuts, a few bad contracts, too much debt, poor asset utilization, slow-paying customers, creeping costs. In logistics, failure almost always starts quietly, long before the trucks actually stop moving. So, can it actually make you rich? Yes, but not because the world simply needs stuff moved. The winners are the companies that price risk correctly, keep every asset earning, protect their cash flow, and deliver with total reliability, even when it's hard. You're not really buying trucks, warehouses, or software when you buy into this industry. You're taking on responsibility for thousands of moving parts, razor-thin margins, and constant uncertainty in exchange for the chance to run the entire system better than everyone else. Because in the end, a logistics company doesn't sell miles. It sells certainty in an uncertain world, the promise that something will be exactly where it needs to be, exactly when it needs to be there.